Hello, 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 and welcome. You're listening to the Whistledown Wine Down with Krystal and Mara. We're doing season 2 of a podcast dedicated to Bridgerton, which is a show from Shondaland Media streaming on Netflix. Shout out to Shondaland, shout out to Shonda Rhimes. And who are we? I'm Krystal, a wannabe librarian who loves to get lost in a story, and a Shonda stan who constantly asks, am I a bad feminist? I love a good romance novel, but thought Regency era fictions were my own guilty pleasure. I now know better. Mara?
And yes, I am still rusty, so I might have to read it off this time, but I promise I'll be better for our next episode. And I'm Mara, a lover of British period dramas and a huge fan of Jane Austen. If I could put myself anywhere, it would be in the writer's room at Shondaland to watch the magic happen. I didn't know there were others like me that enjoyed reading historical romance novels. I feel like I have found my people. Well, you guys, today we're going to be talking about Bridgerton season 2, episode 1. We finally made it. The long wait. Oh, it was so long and so many rumors, but we made it. We made it to season 2. We're talking about episode 1, titled capital R for Rake. So grab a glass of wine, tea, or another favorite beverage, and let's get into it.
Ooh, we need sound effects.
We need the wine bottle pouring from our season 1 episodes. Okay, so all right, Krystal, you ready for this one?
Yes. Well, tell the people what we're about to do. What are we jumping into right now?
Okay, so right now we're gonna go ahead and, like we always start off every podcast episode, doing a quick recap, and we title it "Quick Bread." It's my one-liners to kind of get everyone excited about some of the things that we're going to be talking about on the podcast, but kind of giving you that quick, brief summary of what went down in the episode. I know we've all seen the episode together, so we're all going to be talking about all this good stuff. Okay. All right, here we go. Krystal, get me all nervous.
Don't be nervous. I love these. I love recaps.
All right, don't make fun of my facial expressions. Here we go. All right, y'all. Here comes the quick bread. Like all journeys, we must look back to see how far we have come. Anthony's journey arc ended season 1 with him prioritizing his family duties over his wants and desires. Shout out to the opera singer Sienna Rosso. She put her happiness first and had to kick him to the curb. Anthony is now focused on finding a viscountess, and he has a list of qualifications. Say what?
Mm-hmm.
It's Eloise's turn to present to court, and we all know that's going to be something else. We finally learn who is the new head of household in the Featherington house. Queen Charlotte is making plans within plans to learn the true identity of Lady Whistledown. Will the queen succeed this season? We meet Team Sharma. Oh, wait, is it too soon to claim Team Sharma? We'll wait and see. Battle of the wits between Lady Danbury and Kate Sharma. Oh, yeah, we talking about it during this podcast episode, and I kept count. And this question's for Krystal. What is your deal breaker when it comes to keeping a secret?
Ooh, okay.
So don't answer it now.
Okay, hold on to that one.
Just wait. But real quick though, Krystal, before we get into Pass the Scones, I want to know, what have you been up to since our last podcast episode?
Ooh, so since we never released them, what have I been up to? I moved back to the States, so I'm back home. What else happened? Yeah, I just got used to this new world that we live in.
Yeah,
kind of post-pandemic. Yeah, that's part of it. trying to figure out how to make it all work. What else happened? Oh, I welcomed a new niece into my family. So our family grew.
Yay!
And what else? It feels like it was yesterday, but I realized some time has passed. But the majority of the time was spent trying to not hear spoilers from people who had read the second book. Yeah. I had to separate myself from all of the blogs and all of the stories and all of the spoilers that people were trying to find out as much as possible. So I spent a good quality amount of time avoiding anything Bridgerton related. And I was counting down until it released on March 25th. And I budgeted out my time. I was like, okay, I have to binge watch this weekend just so no one spills the tea.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what, Krystal, real quick, when you were mentioning about trying to avoid spoilers for season 2, I kind of think of that little Kim GIF or meme where she's kind of doing that
dodging
with the, it's horrible, but that's exactly what I was thinking when you were saying that. And you did it though. You survived.
I did. It wasn't easy. I would go into something and I'd be like, I'm like, nope, gotta go. So I was pleasantly surprised during the season to see things happen and be like, oh my God. And then other people were like, you didn't know? And I'm like, was I supposed to? But it was great. So I'm happy about that. Okay. But what about you? What have you been up to?
Oh my goodness. Okay. So if my voice sounds a little bit different, it is because I recently got braces. Yes, I'm a grown adult that decided to get braces. And I didn't see anything super different about my smile, but I saw the little changes because I had them in high school and didn't wear my retainer. So so now time has caught up with your girl and decided December of 2021 to go ahead and get these bad boys put back on. It's definitely been eye-opening. I definitely feel like I've been aging backwards now because who decides to get braces again? So that's been something new. And so I do apologize to the listeners that if my voice is kind of different, I'm still getting used to the braces, but for anyone that got them, I feel you. I feel your pain. I feel the pressure of the braces. It's all new. What else has been going on? My mom recently retired from 25 years of working as a nurse. So I'm actually in the middle process of planning her retirement dinner. So it's been fun. It's been stressful. I'm happy my mom had a daughter because her sons are something else. And what else has been going on? And you know what? Just been hanging out with me and my puppy. Well, she's not a puppy anymore. She's turning 2, my Poppy. And she's turning 2 May. Well, she turned 2 May 24th, but I celebrate her birthday from when I picked her up from the pet shelter at the local SPCA. I definitely recommend for anyone that's looking for pets, check out your local SPCA first, because you never know, you could find your ride or die. And I have mine, and she's awesome. She's a Chihuahua, Jack Russell Terrier mix, and she's full of energy, and she can be a sappy lap dog too. So it has definitely been fun being a dog parent since the last time we caught up. So those are the things that's been going on with me.
Nice. All right, what else is happening? All right, well, let's get back into it because we can go on a whole tangent because we have.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
We have more to say. So what do we want to start out with that question or?
No.
You can come back to that up to snuff.
So that question I was going to reserve for exactly down when we get to up to snuff.
Okay. All right. Perfect. Mm-hmm. All right. So then, do you want to pass some scones?
Yes. Let's pass some scones.
Okay. So as a reminder, pass the scones are our favorite little tidbits that happen during the episode. So it's either characters, scenes, appearances, just something that happened in the episode. And this season, we're going to go with our top three. And so we're going to pass our top three scones around. Mara, would you like to go first with your first?
Yes, I would. Thank you. Krystal, look at you. So nice to me. Okay. Let's see. You know what? I'm going to start off with the, probably a fan favorite of everybody's. Mama Bridgerton and Lady Danbury. I don't know if they're like the perfect matchmakers or crime duo that we've all been waiting for. Because anytime those two get together, it is like sparks flying, plans being made, plans going awry, and then plans coming right back to where they're supposed to be. So I really like seeing those two together during a couple of the scenes, during a couple of the, not the dance scenes, but the balls. There we go.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that one was really fun to just, it's kind of like familiar. It's kind of seeing like old friends, you know what I mean? I'm just like, hey, old friends, what y'all about to get into? Let me get y'all. Can I join you?
So at the same time, so one of my favorites for this episode was actually the attire and the adornments. So like the jewelry, like all of the costuming for this episode, particularly because it was our first time back. And I'm looking at people, I'm like, what did they do different? Like I felt like the colors were brighter. The jewelry was like sparkling. It was the zhuzh was zhuzhing. Like everything was on. And the first moment of like, oh, we're back was when Lady Danbury is walking in with Queen Charlotte down the hall. And again, Lady Danbury is in white, which is rare for Lady Danbury, right? But I was just like, look, I said, well, hello. Like I was so excited to see them back on screen together. And I think that their relationship off camera is really exciting. And then also just the notion of the fact that we're getting a Queen Charlotte spinoff. I'm super excited to see their relationship when they were all young. Like it was another reminder of just like, they know each other, right? And that whole like being part of the peerage.
Yeah, like really close friends. Well, yeah. That's what they're kind of giving off that vibe. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that was, for me, that was really exciting. But it was one of my favorites was just all of the attire. It was the lavender, like that lavender pink hair, the pink wigs that the queen had at her ball. No, I'm sorry, at Lady Danbury's ball. It was Violet. It was Mama B in her violet dress. When she first came, for the first ball. It was also, who else was like, just like really got me? I think again, it was Lady Danbury when she was in all white because of how often we don't see her in that attire. But just like the glittering baubles, I think they did a lot of pieces in her hair this season, and all of it. But that first time when she walked in, I was like, it's good to be back. That's how I felt about that one.
Love it. This favorite scene might be on your list, but I'm probably stealing it from you. So we're talking about the second ball. No, I'm sorry, the first ball. It's the first one. It's the one that Lady Danbury is throwing because it's the first season, right? Because she gets that honor to throw the first ball. And so it's the scene where Mama Bridgerton and it's Anthony and they're like walking into the ball, and Mama Bridgerton does like a modern day tweet, but she's like announcing it to the whole crowd. Mm-hmm. Oh, by the way, my son's single, y'all. I was just like, oh, okay. So that's what we're doing now. Okay, cool. She's just like waiting for him this whole time, and she's like, yeah, he's single now. So, and then he gets like just bum rushed by all these like single women to like sign their dance cards. It was, I swear, like that's the first thing that came up to mind. I was just like, yo, did she just send out that tweet that everyone like retweeted like over 1 million times? That was hilarious.
That was a great moment. And I definitely like gasped at that moment. I was like, oh my God, did she just do that? And then he was just like, did you just do? I'm like, but definitely a good one. So favorite character for this episode,
Okay.
I was gonna go with my fan favorite, but I was like, actually, the person that was giving me the most, like, I was like, look at you, was Brother Benedict this episode. Benedict had a number of moments where I just really appreciated him in his brotherly state. So twice he saved Eloise.
Yes.
Right? When Daphne's like, oh, I'll talk to her. He was like, sister, not you. He was like, you're not the one. Please don't go in there. And then also when they first get to the ball and the young Marquis comes in to speak to Eloise, and he's like, girl, like he was like, you want to get some cake? He was like, move. He saved her immediately. He was like, come on, let's go get some cake. And it was perfect timing. And then the last one was Mama Bridgerton, when she was like, when Anthony asked for her betrothal ring, and she kind of, the mom slides in, she was just like kind of check on him. And he's like, me, right? But as a sibling, it's kind of like mom. So Benedict was definitely the most amusing. But also you can see him, I think him losing his footing of kind of like trying to like, what am I doing? Like everyone else is doing stuff, like what am I doing? So I saw that a little bit, but definitely Benedict being my favorite character this episode.
Nice. Well, I'm definitely going to be giving Benedict some love, but it's probably going to be like later down in the episodes. But I definitely feel you on that one. I felt like Benedict, I mean, just his presence, his energy, his quick wit and one-liners, like he definitely was feeling some scenes. So I definitely agree. I'm going to go ahead and kind of follow your suit in terms of favorite character of this season. And it's our girl, Eloise. It is, okay? She's trying to keep it real as much as possible. And how is she keeping it real? One is that she is so bold in sharing her anxiety about like everything that's going on, about these society pressures on women, pressures that that you get from family. Like she's like wearing her feelings on her sleeve. So I give her mad props for that one. And what else was there? Yeah, I mean, because I just feel like we all kind of go through that. And she looked gorgeous when when she was being presented at court. Well, I don't know if she actually got a chance to be presented at court. I guess we'll find out episode 2.
Yeah. She always presents well, but she's also in full panic when you really like watching her. It's not the favorite, but one of the things that Eloise did that I thought was really interesting was when the two of the men asked her for a dance or if they could get her something to drink. And she's kind of like, I'm taken. And the interesting thing about it was I don't think Eloise realizes that by like, in her case, she's just trying to get away. But in some ways she may look like she's playing hard to get. And so she might end up they're just going to keep coming. And so I thought, I'm like, look how interesting this is. She wants no parts of this, but everyone's still trying to reach out to her and connect with her. So it's very interesting. And it's interesting to see what happens with her the rest of the season. And then my last favorite is a quote.
Uh-oh. Oh, she did.
Okay. So this is, I guess I'll do the whole quote, but I'll pause before the line that really like got me.
Dramatic effect.
Yes. This is when Kate is talking to her little sister, her Bon, Edwina. And Edwina's concerned about whether she'll be liked. And Kate says, "It is not a man's appearance or title that will woo you. It is his mind and spirit that will court yours." And then she says, "He will speak in a manner that only your heart can hear." That was me freezing because I was like, what did she say? Oh, to the writers in the writer's room, like that was poetry. Gorgeous. So that was my favorite line from this episode. And I was just like, if you don't speak on it. And then also the fact that by hearing that, you hear like that's what Kate would want. And not just so much like, I want this for you, Edwina, but that's what Kate would want. That's how Kate defines what love is and what love looks like and how she would want that to show up for herself. And so it's just a beautiful telling of like how she really feels on the inside, even though we found out that the older sister, if she would just get out of the way, sentiments. But yes, that was beautiful. I might write that in some calligraphy.
You're gonna get like a sweatshirt or like get like a tote bag and like print it, embroidery on it on the side, just like letting you know. This
Look, you're thinking about sharing stuff. I was like, I was gonna put it on my wall for me.
Sorry.
I wasn't worried about anybody else in that moment, but
sorry. I joked.
No, there's nothing wrong with it. It just made me realize I'm like, oh, I'm not sharing. I don't know. Is that a good or bad thing? I don't know. All right. Da-da-da-da-da-da. All right. Anything else to be missed?
I think I have one more. And can I change it up to something I did not like? Or I don't know if it's something I didn't like or it just didn't sit well with me.
Do you want to bring that into up to snuff? Because we talk about things that aren't going the way we like.
You know what? We can. Absolutely. I think that it'll definitely work for there too.
So let's slide on over to up to snuff. So for those of you that don't know what snuff is, snuff was powdered tobacco, and historically it was apparently a favorite of Queen Charlotte's, and we saw that in season 1 that she had her options of snuff that she was able to partake in. But for us, up to snuff is the question of like, are things up to standard? Are there things that we have questions on? And also, how do things compare? So one thing that we also want to get into are the differences between the book and the show, if they're worthy of note. In some ways, obviously, we know very much that this story is made for television viewing. So we're very cognizant of that. But we like to kind of tap into like, what do we see things that are different and how does that kind of shake things up for us? Particularly myself, because I didn't read the book. And I just love hearing pieces that I'm like, what happened? So yeah, so that's up to snuff. So if you want to start with show versus book, and then we can come back to that thing that you didn't like so much.
Okay, let's go ahead and do that. I've only got a couple to share for this particular episode, only because the TV show writers, they took a lot of creative liberty with this season, like the way that the whole formatting is set up. But I have to give another chef's kiss to the writers, because the way the book is formatted, it would not have worked for a TV show. It just wouldn't. In fact, it would have made Anthony look like a horrible character, the way that he acts in the book. And any of my romance novels, people know exactly what I'm talking about. Like the whole brooding guy type, it just would not have translated. So I really do appreciate that the writers did take that creative liberty, kept things the same, changed some things, and then, just kind of spiced it up a little bit more. So I really appreciated that. So a couple of things we can go ahead and kind of just get off the way. So when Lady Danbury and Kate are having the conversation in Kate's room, and Lady Danbury enters with a letter from Lady Mary's parents, who are supposedly Kate's grandparents, but through marriage only. And there is this, deceptive plan that Kate orchestrated for her sister and her mom to come to Bath. I think the show is located in Bath, right? I feel like it's in Bath, but London.
Okay, it's London, but I also don't know where Bath is to be like, it's that close.
You know what? This show, okay, I think I'm getting it confused. So yes, it's supposed to be London, but in real life, the show is actually filmed in Bath, in England. So that's how it works. So I'm trying to keep everybody together. So when we get to that scene and Kate is asking, Lady Danbury, please don't tell, anyone that, the true reason why, we came out and everything. Actually, that conversation never happened in the book. And actually, Edwina's character actually knows why the family came back to London, came back to society, why Edwina is being presented at court. So actually, everybody really knows. However, though, exactly what the TV writers did to kind of help push along the character arcs and the story arc, you really want some type of spice, some type of, anticipation, some type of worry, like, oh my gosh, such a big secret, right? So that was one of the things that I actually would like. Great job, writers. You guys did a fantastic job with that. The other one was Kate and Anthony first meeting with the horseback riding in the early mornings. Yeah, no, that didn't happen in the book either. I believe if the book is accurate, and please comment and correct me, but they met in court. And Anthony,
the horseback was more exciting.
But the part about Anthony being interested in Edwina, that part's correct. That in the beginning of the book, that part is accurate. Again, the writers took creative liberty on how they're talking to each other, and I realize I use my hands a lot to talk. Wow. I'm sorry, I just noticed it. I'm like, must say something wrong with me. And of course, the other chef's kiss goes to the writers taking liberties on giving us a more detailed backstory on the Featheringtons. Because in the books, we don't hear too much about the Featheringtons, only about the family being one of the society's, families with a long history and name similar to Bridgerton family, right? So one of the established families, right? Okay. And so with the Featheringtons in the book, we don't hear too much about them, even throughout the rest of the sibling stories, because yes, I did read ahead. We don't hear too much about them. So, again, kudos to the writers to fleshing out more of the Featherington storylines and arcs, and, just learning more about their characters and their motivations and their, things that make them cry. And, so I just appreciated that part. So that's the show versus books.
Nice, interesting. I've also been waiting for us to do this piece of actually getting to talk through all this so that I could read the book when we're done, because the other part was like not like it's interesting to hear it, hear the pieces, and also it's nice to like be able to go into that story and kind of like push the televised version to the side at that point. So I'm excited to get to read this when we're through. So let's go to the thing that you did not like. What was something that was not up to snuff for you this episode?
Hold on, because you know what, Anthony was working my nerves.
Well,
let's go ahead and just start it off with the list, okay? This man, depending on who he is around, he's giving 2 different lists on qualifications on women, and the fact that he even has a list, I'm like, sir, are you serious? You cannot be serious. So the first list that he starts off with when he's in the carriage ride with his brothers, Gregory and Benedict, when they're going to court with Eloise and the girls.
She took notes. I just want you to know, this is like when they say like, when women are getting ready to go into a battle, like they're about to argue, it's like they're getting ready. She went and got her notes together. She like went and picked up the ingredients to like put a slap down. Like, this is what's about to happen. I'm nervous. Continue.
Because look, I don't think Anthony gonna make it the rest of these episodes the way I'm getting upset with him. But we'll go ahead and start off slow with him. So his list starts off saying he's looking for a wife to be tolerable, dutiful, suitable enough hips for childbearing, and at least a half a brain. And it says the last part is more of a preference.
So she doesn't even need to have the half of the brain. She could have none.
So fast forward, and this is when he is out on a patio area during a ball. And it's around the scene. It's like right before he meets Kate. He's talking with a couple of his homies. And they're outside on the patio. And of course, this is the infamous, he's not looking for a love match, but he's looking for a woman that has good stock, impeccable quality, a pleasing face, acceptable wit, and genteel manners, enough to credit a viscountess. And I was just like, you know what, sir? That's why I appreciated Kate's comeback saying, well, how do you know any of your qualities will be acceptable to the woman that you might be pursuing? Like, I was just like, where are you coming from with all of this? You don't even know anybody yet. You don't even know yourself. You just got done getting your little heart broken over some opera singer. And it was because you kept doing all this knee jerking stuff back and forth with her. And so now all of a sudden you want to put up all of these walls and then have the nerve to have qualifications. And we haven't seen you do anything yet to deserve a woman that's even close to having any of those qualifications.
Correct. Listen, Anthony is not my favorite character. He's never been. So you were not wrong. But yes, it was very interesting to hear him run through those requirements. But I really appreciated the zingers that Kate threw, because they were back to back to back. She was certified in the way she was just like, no. I think you think too highly of yourself. Like she tightened him up real well. And you know what else I really enjoyed about it too was Anthony, number one, is not used to people talking to him with truth, right? Everyone's always careful about what they say around him because of status and society and what have you. So that's one thing. The other part is she gathered him well. So in her the way, yes. As they say when they put you in a ponytail and they gather, like she gathered him. And so the way that she did it too, he doesn't know what to do with what happened. Like he's at the end of that scene, he's kind of like, what just happened? He's standing there confused. And I think the exciting part about it too is she still shows interest, right? Because he was excited to run into her again. He was like, I was hoping I was gonna see you. Like he's still attracted to her, right? He's still trying to understand, like he wants to get to know her and find out who she is and what's up with her. And at the same time, he's kind of like, are you talking to me like this? And so I think that part of, and this is actually one of the questions that I have in this scenario is the fact that he's confused, he's shocked, but he's also aroused because he's kind of like, who is
chase?
Who is this woman? Yeah. And so I know people were talking about a classic enemies to lovers type of scenario. But have you ever had somebody that you like could not stand, and then later on you were just like, yeah, I kind of like this person, and you're just like, dang it, but they get on my nerves.
I probably had those with one way direction feelings towards celebrities or like sports figures. Like for instance, Kobe Bryant, rest in peace, great, awesome basketball player. But when he first came onto the scene, I was super annoyed by him. I don't know why. I was super annoyed. And just like as a sports fan, now, of course, as a woman, I was like, oh my God, he's so good looking. But like as a sports fan, I was like, I don't like him. I don't like his arrogance and blah, blah, blah. And then for whatever reason, during his basketball journey, through his journey, becoming a man, becoming a father, becoming a businessman, I just started like gaining this like respect and admiration for these things. And then especially when he retired, he started focusing on his daughter's passion to pursue basketball in his footsteps. And so he started becoming a coach and coaching her basketball teams. And so that part, it was just like, wow, like, oh wow, this person is definitely cool. So yeah, so one way type feelings, but in real life, not really. I always seem to challenge someone's thought process, but not the whole lovers, like not the whole like enemies to friends. I wouldn't say I've had that experience. What about you?
So did not have enemies to lovers scenario, but I do recall like in high school how I could not stand this one guy. He's same situation, real arrogant, thought he knew everything. And it pissed me off because I was like, don't think that just because your grades are what they are, that makes you better than anybody. And so he used to piss me off a whole lot. And I remember at one point it was like a spring semester day or something. And I remember just being like, I don't know what happened in that moment, but I was just like, no. It's like, I don't know if you saw Turning Red with the red panda, but there's that moment where like she's in school and then she's like, you're like, what's the matter with you? And it's like all of a sudden she's just like, oh my God. So for me, there was a moment when I was just like, I had the full recognition that I'm like, oh my God, I think I like this person. And I was pissed about it. I was pissed off about it. I was like, no, never. But I fully understood the enemies, the concept of enemies to lovers. And so for me, it was more so enemies to friends, because I think there was a point where the transition went from kind of like hating and disregarding this person to a point of like respecting this person for their capabilities or competency, their ability to excel, and being able to kind of like take the arrogance part away and actually see the other parts of the person. So yeah, but I remember, I'll never forget it. I was livid because I was like this. I never told anybody, and I won't say it here. I'm not telling the soul. But
just text me today. Just text me today.
You won't know.
I'm just curious so that, maybe I can Google them later. I don't know.
So this is actually a great segue into the question you asked, which was, what is the deal breaker on keeping a secret? Correct me if I'm wrong.
Wait, before we go there, I just wanted to share this part because sometimes when we're like, thinking about, shows and we're trying to like put them into context and how would we describe this season, right? I'm sorry, on how we would, on how we would describe the season. I've been kind of thinking of these Shakespearean Jane Austen novel. I feel like it's a combination of Much Ado About Nothing, Midsummer's Night Dream, and Pride and Prejudice.
I don't know Much Ado About Nothing, so let me add that to my list of things that I will eventually get to. But you want
to see the version where Denzel Washington is in it. That one is excellent. You'll love it.
Okay, with Denzel.
With Denzel
Washington.
No, Denzel. No,
you said his dad's name was Denzel.
Yeah,
and his name was Denzel too.
His name after his father, Denzel. Denzel.
We call him Denzel. You know how many young men are named Denzel?
Black people get their own name.
That was insulting. I feel like I'm like, after all this time, you tell nobody, sir. That was weird.
I mean, like your whole career, and you've answered to this name.
How you know? Why wouldn't you tell anybody? That's like one of those examples of like when someone's like, oh, what's your name? And then they say it wrong and you just go along with it.
Ooh.
Correct somebody. But then again, it worked for his career because Denzel was definitely like, Denzel. Like, I understand it.
Yeah.
But still,
Exactly.
you've been Denzel this whole time? Okay. But yeah, so yes, I will say this. I noticed immediately when they opened up the credits or the beginning of the show, the lake. Let me stop tapping the pencil. But in the opening scenes where there's kind of like you're back in the Bridgerton, version of London. And I'm just like, ooh, I was like, ooh, the lake. And I thought about the lake from Pride and Prejudice, depending on the one you watch. It would be the one with Colin Firth, that one. And I know that's also the same one that Chris Van Dusen references as well. Yes. As like the mood and the energy. So that rings very, very true to me. But the lake was definitely a piece that I was just like, I'm like, oh, I said, oh, we're on the water this year. Because they had it last season, but like it wasn't as wide as it was this year. We kind of saw like the ends of it. But yeah, I do have to go back though to look at Much Ado About Nothing. And then Midsummer Night's Dream, I remember probably being one of those required reading in school. And I was like, I said, a fairy? I remember just being like, what are we talking about? What do y'all have me reading?
At the book, I'm just talking about the movie play.
Oh, see, I just remember all the books. That's hilarious.
Well, that's probably what everybody kind of thinks of when they think, you mean the fairy?
The first time they throw a fairy, I'm like, we're reading about fairies. I don't even think I knew what like fantasy books were yet. So I was just like, what? I knew about Greek mythology, but the fairy threw me off for whatever reason. But still, those things still ring very true to me about like kind of like the elements that they kind of brought into the space. So I agree on that one.
Okay. Well, let's go ahead and move on to the other question that I had in Up to Snuff, which was, what is your deal breaker when it comes to sharing secrets? So the scenario is someone shares something important to you, and we'll go ahead and say, it's nothing life-threatening, nothing like that. But if the secret gets out, it can change a lot of people's opinions and could change the trajectory of someone's project, or kind of what their ambitions are moving forward. What would be your deal breaker?
Deal breaker as in like when I would break the secret? I would take it to the grave kind of friend. So if it's someone that's close to me and they tell me something in confidence, I will not speak on it. I also think that some secrets aren't forever, but usually the person that is behind it will be the one to share it. Like, or they told somebody else who couldn't keep their mouth shut and now it's off. Yeah, my deal breaker is really I don't share anybody's business. I am a take it to the grave friend. You can tell me stuff, I know nothing. And when it comes out, I will say this, depending on who it is and what the scenario is, when someone does come back around, so let's say this person told me something, and I say nothing, and then someone else comes around to tell me that thing, I still don't acknowledge that I knew.
There you go.
Depending on what it is, I'm like, if it's anything significant, I'm definitely not admitting that I know that. If it's something that's less significant, that it's kind of like, this would have came out anyway, then I'm just like, I did hear something about that. And they're like, you didn't tell me. And I'm like, it's not, and I will say this repeatedly, I said, it was not my business to tell. And I fully believe that. Whenever somebody tells you something, it's because they needed to tell you something, but it's their responsibility to decide who and when to share that with other people. And then something that my mom always says, which I think is something that her dad always said, is that once you tell another person, it is no longer a secret. And so, like, once two people know, it's out, in essence. So I feel like a lot of times if somebody has told you something, it's because they couldn't keep it in anymore. and that means it's not meant to be a secret any longer, to an extent. But that doesn't mean that you're responsible now to go and share it. That is not your responsibility. You were just there to be a keeper of that secret until the time comes when you are allowed to now give up that secret, if they allow you to do it. But now, girl, to the grave.
I heard that. Take it there.
Yeah. What about you? Like, what would be the thing that, like?
Oh goodness. So I mean, definitely life and death. Like, if I know, like, you know, something crazy about to happen, like, girl, don't you go there. Someone told me, you know, Shay, someone told me that you shouldn't go there. Don't go there. Don't tell me, you know, I can't tell you on who told me, but just don't go. But you know what? I'm very similar. And I think more so as I've gotten older, because when your girl was in middle school, I was not that good at it because I was trying to please everybody and be everybody's friend. But then I didn't realize what I was doing. It was I was very awkward. But as I've gotten older, I've just become the black hole when it comes to secrets. And when I say the black hole, I mean, you will tell me something and I will purposely forget it. And then you'll get annoyed when you want to talk about it again. And I'll be like, girl, what happened? Anytime you hear me say, that really means I purposely forgot it, because I would not want that thing creeping up at the wrong time for my consciousness. So I'm really the black hole. I am really the black hole when it comes to secrets. You tell me something in confidence. You say, Mara, you can't tell nobody. I'm like, okay. But I promise you, don't try and come back and ask me about it, because I will not remember.
Not you releasing it to the cosmos. She was just like, you can give it to me, but I'm not holding it. I was like, okay, thank you. Mm-hmm. There you go. And then they're like, can I get it back? And I'm like, I don't have it anymore. I tossed it in the you need it?
Look, sis, you're gonna have to start all over again, because I don't remember. You're gonna have to jog this memory, because that thing's stuck in long-term care memory. I'll probably remember secrets when I'm like 95 at a nursing home trying to tell people, well, you know, Cindy told me blah, 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 blah. And, you know, Cindy and I were probably like 10 or 12 years old.
And by then they don't know who Cindy is. And they're just like, all right, Miss Mara. All right, Miss Mara.
That's her special friend.
Oh, no. I did have another question for you.
Okay. Right. I'm ready.
So this episode, we're seeing that the Featheringtons are in dire straits, right? And we don't know what's happening with the cousin Featherington, when he's going to show up. And so Varley, the staff, the whole staff for the Featherington household,
the OG,
is the one who's like, you know, we can sell the silver, and Lady Featherington is out here trying to figure out what's of value to get rid of, so she can get some cash.
Wait, right? She's like this close to getting on the pole. But go ahead though.
The question I have for you is, like, with Penelope now making all this money, right? Because she's a G. She has her business. She's running it the way she needs to. But her family is horrible. Do you think, because she's seeing it happen, she's seeing how bad it is. Do you think that if the Featherington cousin had not shown up, do you think she would have saved her family?
Wow. That is such a good question. Because I'm trying to think, is there any precedence to it? Anything that I can think back of from season 1 that would say, oh, Penelope's got her family's back? Because she really don't. She's done thrown her family under the bus 4 or 5 different times, backed it up and ran forward again. You know what? I think, you know what? You might have to get back to me on that one, because I can't think of a precedence where again, like I said, I can't see where Penelope has had her family's back. And, you know, everything has just kind of stayed the same. going into season 2, episode 1, she's still being dismissed by her mom. Or not necessarily being dismissed, but not really, her mom's not really looking for her like that. She's really concerned about Philippa and Prudence. And FYI, side note, I love Prudence this season, and I know we're going to talk about her, but she was hilarious. Yes. But yeah, I don't think so. I don't think so. And one of the reasons why I don't think so is, one, she's never disclosed that she was Lady Whistledown to her own family. So if that's her trust level, she's never disclosed that. But I also think the reason why she's also done it is because she sees how conniving her mother is, and her mother could use her, Penelope's gifts to her advantage to push up her family. So I can't tell you that she would have her family's back, but I can tell you all the reasons why Penelope likely, would not be doing it. I don't know. What do you think? I mean, that's a great question.
To be honest, I'm not sure either. Thinking about all of the reasons why she would not make sense to me, because her family has never been nice to this girl. Like, they're just overarchingly cruel to her. And so I would say that if anything, her losing her ability to create her revenue, right, which means she needs to be at the parties in order for her to do that job, she would do something in order to ensure that she does not lose her space, because that then so she wouldn't lose her income. So I feel like if she did anything, it would be in a way that is for herself, but not for her family.
Agreed.
Yeah, agreed. I think that's girl. Penelope. So yeah, I thought about this question as I was watching the episode, and I'm just like, would she what's she doing? Because she was counting her money. I don't know if you remember the scene when Prudence comes in. Before Prudence comes in, homegirl was just counting her money. Yeah. Like, it wasn't like she had she was just counting her coin. She was just like, let me just see what I did this week. Like, she was not, I really like that. I didn't catch that until probably like the third or fourth time I watched it. And I was just like, wait a minute, what was she doing before this? She was just counting coins before bed? Like, okay. Anyway, dang, I had another question. We want to cut the time because we want to obviously make sure that we're being, we're trying to hold ourselves accountable this season. But I'll come back. I have another question we can come back to next episode. But yeah, so season 1, interesting introduction, met a lot of people. We didn't really get too much into the Sharmas just yet. We think there's some more to get into that going forward, because I feel like we're going to have some more robust conversations about them.
Yes.
But yeah, man, welcome to season 2. Before we go, I do want to remind folks that we are on Twitter at Krystal and Mara, KRYSTALANDMARA, if you want to send us a tweet. And yeah, if you have thoughts, leave them. If you're listening to this, wherever you are, please leave a comment or a review, because that would be helpful for us too. We'd also love some feedback on what you like and what you don't, so that we can get better at what we do. So hearts all around. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. And yeah, I think that's it. You ready to get out of here?
Oh, I thought that we were going to talk about extras. We were going to do crumbs.
Oh, crumbs. You're right. All right, let's round out with a couple of crumbs. Do we have some time for some crumbs?
It'll be just one crumb. I promise.
Okay, yeah. All right, let's do some crumbs. I actually had a couple of crumbs. Go ahead, girl.
Okay. Just real quick. And the reason why is because it was one of those, and it wasn't a throwaway line, but it is during a scene where Eloise and Penelope are at the market, and Penelope purchases another quill pen because she's running through them, because us, the viewers, we know why, but Eloise has no idea. We want to talk about Eloise's like obvious clues in front of her, but not obvious clues. But
yes.
But one of the quotes she made by an author named Wollstonecraft. And,
yes.
And unfortunately, forgive me, I forgot to print out the quote that she said, but it definitely spoke to me, and I wanted to catch the name. And I Googled it, and it's actually who she quoted was Miss Mary Wollstonecraft, and Miss Wollstonecraft is regarded as one of the founding feminist followers, and feminists often cite both her life and her works as important influences. And of course, this is all off of Wikipedia, y'all. Wollstonecraft is an English writer, philosopher, and advocate of women's rights. She is the author of A Vindication of the Rights of Women, published in 1792. She argues that women are not naturally inferior to men, but appear to be only because they lack education. Now, remember the time period. She suggests that both men and women should be treated as rational beings, and imagines a social order founded on reason. So she's
sorry, say it again. Founded on
reason. So, instead of having, and please forgive me, listeners and viewers, but basically instead of having like this male female hierarchy below, it should be really based on reason why. Like, the woman should not be casted lower just because of her gender identity, right? Of course, I'm using our modern terms now. But yeah, so that was one of the reasons why I wanted to check her out, because I was really interested. I was just like, well, why would Eloise just throw out a name like that? Even though I appreciated the quote, and I was just like, well, who was this person? And so, we're getting a chance to hear more about our, early feminist philosophers in Bridgerton. So I appreciate that part as well. And it also speaks to who are the writers in the room and who they are representing.
Interesting. Okay, she was before there was a movement. She was the movement. Okay, Wollstonecraft. Interesting. One thing. This is not a crumb, but this is just something that I thought was hilarious. The boob pocket. Lady Whistledown kept the Whistledown paperwork in the boob pocket, and I thought that was hilarious. And I'm like, wow, even back then. So the boob pocket took me. Because part of me was just like, I'm like, ma'am. I was like, you not, anyway, I was thinking about sweat. I was like, girl, the ink, it's not gonna run. But whatever, she did a great job. Kudos to her with that boob pocket. Because mind you, those dresses don't have pockets. We're just now getting pockets in 20, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
So there were no pockets because women didn't need to carry things, right? There was demure. Yeah, but the boob pocket was something that I really appreciated, because I was like, wow, look how she's moving her goods. But there was, what was a crumb that I thought was interesting? There were a couple of words that I thought were great. But at one point they mentioned a whelp in the country, and a whelp was a term for a puppy, but the word, the way that they were using it, was an impudent or despised youth, which most likely means they're like a child from a mistress, or like a child that's not respected in some sense of the word. So when she was getting her tea on the outskirts, that was one of the terms that he used, and I was just like, ooh, that was not very nice. It was very much an insult.
Mhm.
And then I had one more from, there was something else. It's funny, I have like the boob pocket in exclamation points. Oh, maybe I lost it. All right, oh, that's what it was. Debrett's. Debrett's. So at one point, Kate refers to reading about she didn't read about courting in Debrett's, right? And according to Debrett's, there was, this is the candidate that she thought would be great. And then Lady Danbury's just like, girl, I got this. And she's like, no, like, don't worry, that's not actually, that information is not accurate. But what Debrett's was, and it still exists to today, but at the time, it was the peerage and baronage of genealogical guide to the British aristocracy. And so it would give the listing of like all of the men that, who was in charge. So it would list out like the Bridgerton family, their lineage, all of that, how far back it goes. So all of that stuff was there. Today in modern day, it is now a British publisher of etiquette guides. So you can still get a Debrett's guide today. But I just thought about how wild it was that you would have to get a copy of Debrett's. And if you were really one of the like mamas that knew what you were doing, you were strategically planning when to debut your daughter in time for when certain men would come of age, where they were then able to start looking for, like, you have to think about the strategy, the age range, like who's having kids when, which kids are coming up when, who becomes eligible in the market at what time. Like if you were really doing strategy the way you needed to be doing strategy, Debrett's is one of the strategic tools that you needed in your toolkit. That's my own personal opinion, but if I was one of the mamas, that would have been one of my books.
Wow, I had no idea. Wow, I didn't even think about it that deeply. And then also, I'm assuming it has like a little quick bio of the family name, family history,
their lineage, probably some of. Yeah. That's how you found out who you wanted to go after. And again, it was probably based on the books. Because remember, the Marquis was only, and I know the wrap up, the Marquis had the same, they said he was making $10,000 a year. $10,000 a year in 1813. Whew. Right? But he's also like he's a kid. He's a baby. Right?
She's like, so mad. She's like,
are those marbles? He's a child. Right? And they're trying to marry him off. At the end of the day.
Wait, not child broom, not child bride, but child groom. But go ahead though.
But yes, that man he was young, but he just had a lot of access because of his lineage. And so he therefore became a catch because of what he could provide to whoever his wife would be. But you had to also be willing to take on a child, because that's who you'd be taking care of until he decided, he became a man.
Wait, real quick, I have one more last little tidbit.
Okay.
So please forgive me, the timer gods. Remember I had mentioned during Quick Bread that there was a battle of wits between Kate Sharma and Lady Danbury. Would you like to know what the score was?
Yes. Let me hear the score, because I was watching the episode like this. I was like, did she just say what she said? What was the score?
Believe it or not, it was 6-2, Lady Danbury. Lady Danbury came so fast with her comebacks. She had Kate spinning, because Kate didn't know.
She didn't.
She did not know who. Now, Kate, youthful. I give you that, sis. Charm. I give you that. Wittiness. I give you that. But Lady Danbury, she's been here before. She's seen you and your type, and she done seen you and your type leave also. And she still stands. So, Kate, pump your brakes, take a breath, okay, and listen when it comes to that. When it comes to that older generation, because they're really trying to give us a little game at the end of the day, because they know it's coming.
Yeah.
But yes, but the wittiness between those two, oof, and I could talk about it more episode 2 podcast, but it was spicy between the two of them on this first episode. Spicy.
Yeah, head to head.
Mhm.
Girl. All right. Well, that was amazing and fun. I know we could keep talking if you haven't noticed. But we're gonna call it quits at this point. We'll be back next week to talk about episode 2, Off to the Races. Yes. I'm excited to watch it again. I just got my mom started actually this today. I was like, Mom, and she started episode 2. And I'm like, you need to stop. You gotta stop. I can't look at this. I don't want to be boggled in the mind. What is it? Stop reading. It'll confuse your thoughts. I was like, stop watching. It'll confuse my thoughts. Anyway, all right. That is all. Let's run out of here. Thank you for listening.
Yes, thank you.